Alright, let's talk about that Nintendo Direct. Hello lovelies, it is me Gent. I'm back with another video, and this time it's going to be a reaction on that Nintendo Direct that's just happened yesterday on the 27th of March. And boy, was it an interesting Direct from Nintendo. I think they're I don't want to say that they're running out of steam, but certainly some of the releases are a bit like whatever for me. But a lot of these also kind of surprised me. Well, a few of them actually surprised me quite a bit, if I have to be honest. So we'll get into that just now. So to be a little bit blunt, I'm going to cut out a lot of the fat that was in this Direct and just focus what I think were the interesting highlights for me. So let's get down to it. I didn't find anything about this Nintendo Direct to be a bit too dumb or a bit too boring. But a lot of them were just a bit well, I don't think, as I watched the Nintendo Direct, I said a lot of this stuff I don't have context for, so I'm just watched some games, like, for example, the Patapon one, or the Story of Seasons, well, maybe not Story of Seasons, but even maybe Rhythm Heaven. I was like, I don't really have context for this, I was just it just went by a little bit. And it was just a bit passive towards it. And I would say for the first one that I felt somewhat passive was actually Dragon Quest of all things. It's mostly because it's already been said that it's going to have a remake, so I just the second announcement of it and the extra character to be a bit just okay, that maybe seems interesting for people who have played Dragon Quest, but for me it's a bit like, well, I'd have to play the game in order to be like, oh, okay, this could be quite interesting or cool. So on that note, I might pick up Dragon Quest 3, the remake, but we'll see about it. Or I think it's Dragon Quest 1 and 2, I don't remember. But again, we'll see. If I do like a video of it at some point, or even just talk about it at one point, then you'll probably know that I eventually picked it up. But onto the stuff that I do care about is, like, well, first of all, like, we'll get it straight out of the way, is of course Metroid Prime 4. That's the one that I'm most interested in, and I was very happy to see, like, extra ideas and gameplay gimmicks that this one is going to focus on, so the psychic abilities and telekinesis. It was very unusual, and it makes me actually wonder, well, how will the title Beyond come into play? Because as I watched the Direct, I said, well, the original Metroid Prime is based on the final boss name, and Echoes is based on one of the visors you get, and Corruption is based on the phase-on effect that has on Samus. So I wondered what the actual Beyond stands for. It was actually, of all things, on my mind when I watched the Metroid Prime bit. And I think it actually looks really clean and it looks really cool. I always love watching a bit of this game. But yeah, so obviously number one is undoubtedly and without surprise is Metroid Prime 4. And I know I said this at the start, but Story of Seasons seemed okay. Just like it seems cutesy, it seems a bit charming and old-fashioned, and just yeah, I could see myself enjoying it. I've only played a bit of the original Harvest Moon, thanks to the Nintendo Switch Online thing. And yeah, it could be a decent playthrough, but we'll see about that, because I try my best not to spend too much on games, but we'll see. Like I said with one of the other games, you will eventually come to know if I eventually picked it up or not. But yeah, otherwise I was just it seems alright, but nothing too major for me. So Rhythm Heaven was another announcement that was surprising and definitely was like, oh wow, yeah, that's right. That seems, well, cool, and I'm glad that it's got another release in the series. So that's honestly it's a cool thing to see, but this point will stand more strongly for me for another game that was released, and you probably know what game that is. But yeah, seeing Rhythm Heaven was cool in a way. I was like, okay, not bad. It's a game I don't personally have much history with, not much context for, but it's cool to see nonetheless. Now we're gonna get into the stuff that really surprised me in this Direct. So first of all are the digital cards. I think these could be a really brilliant idea for Nintendo, and for Switch owners, especially when they get the Switch 2, is that if they can transfer those games to the Switch 2, or even just to other people's consoles, like if they have a family, I think that's actually a really smart idea from Nintendo, and could be like, yes, this is actually really good so that they can lend games to others for a bit, and just kind of have a taster of them. I think I think I might do that with my 2 Switches, and when I get the Switch 2 as well. If it's assuming that it's a feature on that thing as well, and that if I can transfer some games digitally, then that'd be really cool. If there's an option to maybe do it permanently, would also be kind of awesome, and then to transfer it back would also be really neat to see. So I'm really curious about this digital card thing. I think I understood it correctly, but that was honestly one of the things that surprised me the most in this Direct. So this is a game that I don't think anyone here or anyone on the internet right now cares about, but for those few, I am so surprised to see another Tamagotchi corner shop game be released. That to me is so bizarre and so unusual and a bit kinda okay. I did not expect this at all, because if you play the Tamagotchi corner shops, essentially you play as a Tamagotchi, you play as a friend of this Tamagotchi, and you help them run shops, you help them become a bit more kind of popular, and you help them be a bit more successful. And you just get money, you help care for them, and it's just a lot of mini games. And it's not really a great game, if I must be honest about. But nevertheless, this is one I might actually make a exception for. I might actually pick this up, weirdly enough, out of morbid curiosity, and see what it's like on the Switch, because I did not expect this release or announcement one bit. I was like, what the heck is this? So that to me is maybe the biggest surprise for me. Like, it's either up to you to decide if it was either a good one or a bad one, but we'll see about that. And of course, the final and most obvious surprise to everyone on the internet was Tomodachi Life 2, Living the Dream. So of course, like, it's kinda already showing like improvements over the original, where it just looks more interesting, it's more cel-shaded, and it's another Mii game, and it's just so weirdly goofy and just bizarre and quirky. It's cool. But the thing I'm wondering about Tomodachi Life 2, I almost said Tamagotchi Life 2. So Tomodachi Life 2 is that if it's set on an island, I wonder what they're gonna do to maybe help you play the game more, and less of just kind of watching the gameplay itself. I wonder what other kind of features they could add, and how else they can double down on the original game. What other features can you have? Can you have a bigger family, more houses, more of the island available, more gameplay options available? I'm really curious about this. It's a bit of a shame that's coming out in 2026, but I can wait. I've got other things to do at the moment. And I guess I should say something about Pokemon, I guess, is that aside from me really not, quite bluntly, not giving us a rat's arse about Pokemon, it does seem cool that it's like kind of real-time battle, and it does seem quite fun, but I can't deny that I'm really just miffed with Pokemon these days. And this game is not really doing much to help me go out of that state of mind towards it, or that kind of opinion towards it. I just find it underwhelming, dull, and just not great. But if you're excited for it, that's good. But I'm still hoping for at least that they put honestly a bit more effort into future releases. And then we've got this new app thing, but whatever. So that will do for the video, my lovely. So what did you think of the Nintendo Direct? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Did you find it a bit kind of mid or whatever? So yeah, just leave what you think were the most surprising announcements or kind of good highlights just in the comments. Just let me know what you think, and we can maybe talk about it more in depth. We'll see about that. And then yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that's happening next week. And so there's, honestly, despite it being out of the blue and not being all that great, I was quite satisfied. And it certainly kind of is a nice taster of what's yet to come for the Nintendo Switch 2. So that will do. So see you next time, my lovelies. Cheerio.